Speaking of getting infected and your life being sucked out of your body, Dracula. Have you watched it?
Yes. And
that was on our list.
What?
We're going to talk about it.
A disaster.
Really? A disaster? A disaster?
Disaster.
From the get-go?
No.
What did you like? Okay, so walk me through. So for those of you who don't know, Dracula is a new 3-part series that came out on Netflix.
Yeah.
And
it was so I was excited because I'm like, oh, when's the last time we've actually had Dracula as the main character?
Okay.
And it starts off really strong. Takes place back in whenever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is going to be like a slow burn, and maybe by the end of the season, spoilers, Dracula will be fully kind of rejuvenated, right? If you watched it, you'll know what I'm referring to.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I shut it off. Like
shut it off.
I shut it off.
You shut it off. You didn't even shut Cats off.
I shut this off.
Chad didn't even shut Cats off. You shut Dracula off.
I shut Dracula off. Yeah, I shut Dracula off.
This is crazy.
Yeah, because episode 3.
Who are you watching it with? Were you watching it by yourself? Or
no, I was watching it with my wife.
Okay.
And we both were like, this is literally a joke. So episode 3 starts. Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
He walks out of the sea based on what happens in episode 2 because he was on a ship going to England, which
and they set it up that Dracula is basically getting ready to move to England.
Yes, to expand, and he's and then segues into episode 2 where he's on a ship where he's set up a bunch of wealthy people, I guess, in these fake business arrangements to be on this ship, and he slowly kills them all. And then at the end of that episode, does the ship blow up or something? I think it blows up. I can't even remember, but he's knocked off the ship somehow. He's in the water. He sinks to the bottom. And then episode 3 starts. He's walking out of the water. Then all of a sudden, now we're in 2020 or 2019. There's a helicopter with a spotlight and private security cars with machine guns. It was so bad. I actually, when that scene happened, I burst out laughing, and it was like full Monty. And I was just like, this
Monty Python.
Monty Python. Yeah. And I'm like, this is a joke.
It's a model on the hill.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, but why would they do that? Because now there's so many Vampire Diaries. That's
all modern day.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So I really enjoyed the first season.
Yeah.
Or first episode. Sorry.
Yeah. Really enjoyed
it. Second episode, it's like, okay, I was okay with it, but when it got to the third, it is horrendous. What it doesn't make sense to me is the hardest part of these shows is building the set.
Yeah,
I'm like, you had the set for the castle.
Yeah, amazing.
You had the set for the castle. Just leave it like if I could rewrite that, I would have it that the end of season 1 ended at the convent.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
Yeah,
that we hear all the story, that we get into this whole world of Dracula, and then he's at the front door where all these nuns are.
Right,
I would have been like
that. It should have been the entire season of that interview process and flashbacks of him escaping and building more world in that castle. Like there's so much to explore there. And I feel like that was such a missed opportunity. And then boom, we're in 2020.
Yeah, so like the crazy thing is that I could have stayed there for
and all the things like that that are popping up like in that first episode of he has all these old
who are these people?
But in the boxes.
Yeah, that want to die.
Yeah.
And this thing that's like this huge maze, and you could have had like different characters.
Yes.
And like there's so much stuff that you could have done there. I really liked the actor who's playing Dracula. Mm-hmm. I really liked the sister Van Helsing.
Yep.
I thought she was really cool.
Yeah, she's interesting.
And I thought they had some really good characters, but they just sped through. There's some cool things that they did with Dracula where whoever he eats, he gets their memories and their skills so that he doesn't want to just eat anybody. Right. But what I didn't like is they keep building up this thing where he's afraid of the cross. He's afraid of the cross. He's afraid of the cross. And it's just like, I felt it was so weak by the time that we got to the end of it. And they didn't really explain Silver. Like one of my favorite Dracula stories is that Dracula is actually Judas from the 12 disciples.
Interesting.
Right? So the reason that he's afraid of silver is because that's what he portrayed Jesus with. The reason he's afraid of the cross.
Amazing.
And it builds up incredible. It builds up that Dracula's actually cursed to never die because of his betrayal of the Son of God.
That's actually that's better than whatever origin.
So I'm just like, that is so good.
That is amazing.
Just use that.
That makes
use
so
that.
much sense.
I don't, and maybe garlic was in the Last Supper. I don't
know, but that's all amazing. Yeah, garlic doesn't. I don't. That's
I don't get. So they made fun of legends, but then they came and they didn't expand on the legends. Like there wasn't better revelations. It's like you're afraid of the cross because you're afraid of dying.
I haven't heard that origin of what you were saying with Judas. That is incredible.
So yeah, my favorite Dracula comes from Judas.
Okay,
I think that's
amazing. That's very
a man
cool.
that's cursed to never die.
It just makes so much sense.
Yeah. Whereas this Dracula, when you got to the end, they really built him up. He's so cool. But then when you get to the end and the big reveals, it's like, you guys didn't think this through.
Yeah, I mean, I shut it off, so I don't know.
You didn't miss anything. The amount of exposition at the end, it just turned into the monologue of monologues. I'm like, oh my gosh, guys.
It's such a, it felt like two different teams.
Yeah.
Were working on that, and that the original guys got fired after episode 1, and then a new crew came in. And
episode 2, I know you didn't like it, but I actually really enjoyed the ship.
I was okay. So here's the thing:
the reason I
liked
it is like a murder mystery,
right? So that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you know what? This wasn't a great episode, but whatever. It will be that filler content transition to get us to England, and then here we go. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we're in 2020 with machine guns in present day, and I'm just like, what the hell just happened?
I just want to be part of that meeting where something happened where they had this amazing, like, back in the day England, and then someone comes in like, what if he wakes up and it's modern day England, and someone's just like,
Vampire Diaries, Twilight, like, what are we doing here? How many times?
And I don't get this. Like, we have such amazing content, but it's almost like things keep getting greenlit before the story's done,
fleshed out.
Because like you can tell they spent so much time
on episode 1,
act 1, and then like act 2 got some writing, but then act 3 is just like, yeah, you guys rushed that. That was just horrendous.